Hey everyone, just a quick reminder. Only about 25% of you watching are subscribed to the channel. If you're enjoying the content, hitting that subscribe button would really help the channel grow. And while you're at it, smash that like button too. It helps a ton, and lets me know you're enjoying the content. Thanks for being here, and let's dive into the story. You ever take a job thinking, hey, this will be easy money? That was me, Jason, when I signed up for the night shift at Buc-ee's. The place is massive, like a gas station decided it wanted to be a Walmart when it grew up. Jerky walls, beaver merch, and more gas pumps than people in my hometown. How hard could it be? Turns out it's hard, real hard, especially when your manager hands you a weird-ass list of rules on your first night. But I'm getting ahead of myself. My first shift started off normal enough. The night crew was a small but colorful group. Tasha, the tough girl who worked the bakery section. She claimed nothing scared her. I watched The Exorcist alone when I was 8. Bring it. Derek, the funny guy stalking the candy aisle. He made bad dad jokes and was addicted to energy drinks. What's a skeleton's favorite snack? Ribs. Get it? Carlos, who ran the cleaning rounds. Quiet dude, but he kept muttering stuff like, "Man, this place gives me vibes. Bad vibes." And then there was Roy, our shift manager, mid-40s, bald, serious. The guy didn't laugh at a single joke. He had seen things. Jason, Roy called me into the back office before my first round. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead like they were judging my life choices. Yo, what's up? I tried to act chill, sipping a Buc-ee's branded soda the size of a toddler. Roy looked me dead in the eye. You planning on surviving your first week? Yeah? Thought that was kind of the point. He didn't smile. Instead, he reached into the desk drawer and pulled out a single sheet of paper. The title at the top? Night Shift Rules. Do not ignore. Read this, memorize it, follow it, or you won't make it to next Friday. I squinted. Is this like some initiation prank? Like hazing the new guy? Roy's stare didn't budge. You'll see. The rules. Never leave the front entrance unattended between 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. If a customer comes in wearing a Buc-ee costume after midnight, lock yourself in the break room until they leave. Do not speak to them. Refill the beaver nuggets before 1:45 a.m. If you forget, don't bother trying after. If you hear knocking from the bathroom stalls when no one is inside, knock back 3 times, then walk away. Fast. The security cameras will show someone waving at you from pump number 77 at 2:30 a.m. There is no pump number 77. Do not wave back. I laughed. No way this is serious. Right? Spoiler. It was very serious. Yo, Jason. Derek popped his head in the door, his energy drink in hand. You seen the size of the beaver plushies here? I'm gonna make one my emotional support animal. Did Roy give you guys this rules list too? I asked, holding it up. Tasha sauntered by, rolling her eyes. Yeah. He's got everyone freaked out over nothing. The scariest thing here is the overpriced BBQ sandwiches. Carlos didn't say anything. He just glanced at the list and shivered. Well, I'm gonna follow him. Just in case, I said, folding the paper and sliding it into my pocket. Suit yourself, Tasha said. We'll be here playing Who Can Eat the Most Jerky Without Choking. The first couple of hours were chill. Customers came and went. Truckers grabbing coffee, late-night road trippers loading up on snacks. We cracked jokes, stocked shelves, and I spent way too long admiring the wall of beef jerky. But then midnight hit, and things got weird. It started with the sound of duck calls echoing faintly from the hunting gear aisle. Yo, who's messing with the duck calls? Derek shouted. Not funny. No one was there. Tasha laughed. Ooh, spooky. Must be the ghost of overpriced merchandise. But Carlos wasn't laughing. Don't joke. It gets worse after midnight. I remembered rule number 2 and glanced at the doors, and that's when we saw it. A figure stepped through the automatic doors, a tall figure in a Buc-ee's the mascot costume. It waved, not in a cute, "Hi, welcome to Buc-ee's," kind of way. It was slow, too slow, like it knew something we didn't. Tasha scoffed. "Who's pulling this prank? Roy? Come out, man!" But Roy wasn't there. The air felt heavy, like the whole building held its breath. The beaver mascot turned its head toward me, and I swear the eyes on that costume weren't plastic. They blinked. "Yo, Jason. The rules. What do they say about this?" Carlos whispered. My hands shook as I pulled the list from my pocket. Rule number 2. If a customer comes in wearing a Buc-ee's costume after midnight, lock yourself in the break room until they leave. Do not speak to them. "Tasha, Derek, break room, now," I hissed. Tasha was still laughing, but Derek grabbed her arm. "Yo, that thing's wrong. The eyes, man. Look at the eyes." The mascot started walking. Slow steps, the beaver smile never changing. We bolted. The break room door slammed shut behind us. We heard the automatic doors whoosh open and close a few minutes later. The figure had left, but when we came back out, there were muddy footprints leading from the front door to the middle of the store, and no sign of who or what had left them. And that was just the first hour. We stood there in the break room, breathing like we just ran a marathon. Tasha finally broke the silence. "Okay, that was weird. I'll admit it." She tried to sound tough, but her voice cracked. Derek peeked through the break room window. "Bro, those footprints? Muddy. And there's no mud anywhere outside. We're in a parking lot." Carlos just kept muttering, "We shouldn't have seen it. We shouldn't have seen it." I pulled the rules list from my pocket, reading rule number 2 again. Do not speak to them. We followed it. Barely. But we made it through. "I'm following every single one of these rules from now on," I said. "Y'all can keep playing around if you want." We went back out to the floor. The footprints were still there, drying into crusty smears. Roy was nowhere to be found. Typical. But I kept my eye on the clock. 1:30 a.m. I remembered rule number 3. Refill the beaver nuggets before 1:45 a.m. Easy enough. "I'm grabbing the beaver nuggets," I said, heading toward the snack section. "Yo, can you grab me some jerky too?" Derek joked, trying to lighten the mood. But Tasha wasn't paying attention. She was staring at the bathrooms. "You guys hear that?" she whispered. Knock, knock, knock. The bathroom stalls. We all froze. "Is someone in there?" Tasha called out, edging toward the door. "No," I shouted, running back over. Rule number 4. If you hear knocking from the bathroom stalls when no one is inside, knock back 3 times, then walk away. Fast. "We're supposed to knock back?" Derek asked, his face pale. "That's what it says," I said. Tasha, of course, smirked. "You guys are chickens. I'll knock back." She pushed the bathroom door open. I swear the air got colder instantly. We followed behind her, cautiously peeking inside. The bathroom was empty, spotless even, but the knocking kept coming from the farthest stall. Knock, knock, knock. Tasha raised her fist. "Wait, 3 times, I reminded her. She knocked. Once, twice, 4 times. "Oops," she smirked. "Guess I can't count." The knocking stopped. For a moment it was dead silent, then, bang. The stall door flew open so hard it cracked against the wall. But there was no one inside. Tasha stumbled back. "What the hell?" Then we heard it. A voice, low, raspy, coming from the stall. "You knocked wrong." Tasha screamed, bolting out of the bathroom. Derek and I weren't far behind. Carlos slammed the door shut behind us. But the voice didn't stop. We could hear it through the door, repeating the same words. "You knocked wrong. You knocked wrong. You knocked wrong." The voice got louder, angrier. The bathroom lights flickered through the small window. We backed away slowly. Suddenly, slam. The bathroom lights went dark. The voice stopped. We stared at the door, waiting. Nothing. Tasha was shaking. I didn't mean, "You knocked wrong," I muttered, remembering the exact phrasing from the rule. What happens when you break the rule? That's when we heard Tasha's phone buzz. She pulled it out with trembling hands. One new text. Unknown number. You knocked wrong. Her phone buzzed again. Another message. Unknown number. We're coming. Tasha dropped the phone like it burned her. The screen cracked, but the messages kept coming. Over and over. You knocked wrong. You knocked wrong. You knocked wrong. We gotta leave. Now Carlos grabbed Tasha's arm, dragging her toward the front doors. But when we tried the doors, they wouldn't open. Yo, Roy, the doors are locked, Derek shouted. But there was no answer, and then the sound started. Tap, 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 on the glass of the front entrance. We turned as one. Outside, barely lit by the overhead lamps, stood a figure. Not the mascot this time. No costume. Just a man, in a Buc-ee's uniform. His face was blurry, like static on an old TV. He raised his hand and tapped on the glass again. Tap, tap, tap. I felt cold sweat run down my back. Don't wave. Don't wave. I was trying to remember the rules. Rule number 5. The security cameras will show someone waving at you from pump number 77 at 2:30 a.m. There's no pump number 77. Do not wave back. I darted for the security monitor. The cameras showed pump number 77, but there wasn't a pump number 77 in real life. And there he was, the same blurry man, waving, slowly, methodically. Derek leaned over my shoulder. Yo, Jason, who the hell is that? I don't know, I whispered, but we're not waving back. Suddenly, we heard a loud bang from the bathroom again. Tasha screamed. I don't care about the rules anymore, she cried. I'm out. She ran for the bathroom door, yanked it open, and vanished. Gone. No sound, no scream. Just gone. We stood there, frozen. Her phone lay on the floor where she'd dropped it. It buzzed one final time. Unknown number. She knocked wrong. We were down to 3, and the clock struck 2:30 a.m. Tasha was gone. No puff of smoke, no scream, no flickering lights. Just gone. 1 second she was there, yanking open that bathroom door, and the next, nothing but empty space. We stared at the open bathroom door. The lights inside were still off, the darkness too thick, wrong somehow, like it went deeper than it should. This ain't real, Derek stammered. Where did she... We gotta call someone. He scrambled for his phone, but I already knew it was useless. My own phone had 0 bars. Carlos tried the landline at the register. Dead. Bro, we're cut off, I said. My voice sounded distant. We're stuck here. Carlos looked pale. Look at the cameras, look at them, Jason. I turned toward the security monitors. And there it was. Pump number 77. The pumps only went up to 76. I knew that because Derek had spent half an hour earlier joking about how 76 pumps were overkill. Yet there it was, blinking on the screen. Pump number 77, under a flickering light. And standing next to it, the man. The blurry man. His face glitched, static-like, eyes sunken, mouth stuck in a twisted grin. He waved. Slow. So slow it made my skin crawl. Rule number 5. The security cameras will show someone waving at you from pump number 77 at 2:30 a.m. There is no pump number 77. Do not wave back. It's 2:30, I whispered. Derek backed away. We're supposed to ignore him, right? That's the rule? Easy. We don't wave. Yeah, simple. I tried to sound calm, but the longer I looked at him, the harder it got to breathe. My chest tightened. The man's hand kept waving, slow, hypnotic. Then Carlos gasped. He's not outside anymore. We snapped our heads back to the live feed. The man was still there, still waving. But the feed glitched. A single frame flickered. The man wasn't at pump number 77 anymore. He was inside the store, right behind Derek. Derek, move! I screamed. But it was too late. The man touched Derek's shoulder, and just like Tasha, Derek was gone. No sound, no flash, just gone. The cameras flickered again. The man reappeared at pump number 77, still waving, still smiling, like he was waiting for the next person. Carlos fell to his knees. No, this isn't happening. They're just gone. I yanked him up. Get it together, man. We follow the rules. That's how we survive. But Tasha, Derek, they didn't follow the rules. We do. We survive. And then, just like that, the man at pump number 77 vanished. The clock struck 3 a.m., and the automatic doors unlocked with a soft click. I stared at the doors. Open. Waiting. Carlos looked at me. We can leave? I hesitated. Was this another trick? Another test? The rules didn't say anything about leaving. Then Roy walked in. Yo, you guys survived? He asked. Casual, like we hadn't just watched two coworkers disappear into thin air. He adjusted his Buc-ee's cap. Didn't think you had it in you, Jason. I ran up to him, grabbing his shirt. What the hell is going on here, Roy? Where are Tasha and Derek? Roy looked at me for a long moment. Then he sighed. Guess it's time you knew. Come with me. Roy didn't flinch when I grabbed his shirt. The dude was calm. Too calm for someone who just walked into a horror show. Where's Tasha? Where's Derek? I demanded again. Roy glanced at Carlos, who looked like he was 2 seconds from passing out. They didn't follow the rules, did they? My grip tightened. They vanished, Roy. Vanished. After that thing at pump number 77 touched them. What the hell is going on? Roy sighed, prying my fingers off his shirt. All right, follow me. I'll explain. But you better keep your heads on straight because things are about to get worse. He led us through the back hallways, past the employee break room, and toward a door I hadn't noticed before. It was unmarked, just a plain metal door with a keypad beside it. Roy typed in a code. The door clicked open. What is this? I asked. Roy looked over his shoulder. The reason for the rules. The door creaked open, revealing a narrow staircase leading downward. The air changed. Thick, cold, heavy. It smelled like rust and old water. Carlos shook his head. No way. I'm not going down there. Roy turned. You want answers? You come. You want to end up like Tasha and Derek? Stay here. I didn't hesitate. Carlos, come on. With a lot of swearing under his breath, Carlos followed. The staircase seemed to go on forever. Each step echoed too loud, like the building above didn't exist anymore. Finally, we reached a dimly lit corridor. The walls were concrete, damp in places, and the hum of some unseen machine filled the air. Roy stopped at a large metal door. This is it, he said, pushing it open. Inside was a massive room, almost like an underground warehouse. But what made me stop cold were the walls. They were covered in screens, hundreds of them, each showing different Buc-ee's locations from across the country. But one thing was the same on every screen. Pump number 77. In every store, no matter the city or state, there was pump number 77. And standing next to it, the man. Waving. Always waving. Carlos backed into me. What the hell is this? Roy gestured at the screens. They're all connected. Every Buc-ee's. All part of the same system. And pump number 77? That's where he shows up. Who shows up? I asked, though I wasn't sure I wanted the answer. Roy gave a grim smile. We don't know his name. We just call him the Waver. Been showing up since the first Buc-ee's opened. Every night, 2:30 a.m., at pump number 77. Always waving. If you wave back, you disappear. Carlos finished, his voice hollow. Roy nodded. Yep. You don't die. At least I don't think so. You're just gone, like you never existed. The rules are there to keep the employees from interacting with him. And the mascot? I asked. The beaver that came inside? Roy grimaced. Another part of it. Sometimes he comes first. A warning. If you talk to him, the Waver comes inside instead of staying at the pump. You don't want that. I felt the blood drain from my face. So Tasha triggered him by knocking wrong in the bathroom? Roy shook his head. That wasn't the waiver. That was something else. The bathroom stalls? They connect to somewhere too. Knock wrong and you open the door to whatever's waiting. That's why the rules have to be followed exactly. One wrong move, and you're gone. But why us? Carlos asked. Why does this happen here? Roy shrugged. No clue. Management knows, but they don't tell us. They just give the rules and expect us to survive. Management? I scoffed. You're telling me corporate knows this is happening? Roy laughed bitterly. Of course. You think Buc-ee's got this big on good snacks and cheap gas alone? Nah. These stores are built on ley lines, places where reality's thin. The rules aren't guidelines, they're a containment procedure. Containment. That word hit me hard. So, Tasha and Derek, there's no way to get them back, I asked. Roy's expression darkened. No one ever comes back. Carlos sank to the floor. We're screwed. Roy shook his head. Not if you keep following the rules. You two made it through tonight. But the next night shift? It's always worse. I stared at the screens again. The waiver was still there on every feed, hand moving in that slow, hypnotic motion. But here's the thing, Roy said, looking directly at me. You made it this far. That means you've got a chance. Just remember, the rules aren't there to scare you. They're there to keep them out. The hum of the machinery seemed to grow louder. The waiver paused. For the first time, his hand stopped mid-wave. And then, he pointed. Right at the camera. Right at us. The screens flickered. One by one, every camera feed started to go black. All but one. The feed for our Buc-ee stayed on. And the waiver was no longer at pump number 77. He was inside the store. The room plunged into darkness. The hum of the machines stopped. The only light came from the single remaining security feed, our Buc-ee's location. The waiver stood inside the store now, right by the front register, still smiling, but he wasn't waving anymore. Carlos backed away from the screens. No, he's inside. What do we do? The rules don't cover this. Roy's face went pale for the first time. That's not possible. He's never come inside unless someone waved back. I finished, my voice hollow. Roy stared at me. Did you wave back? I shook my head. No, I swear Carlos looked between us. Then why is he inside? The waiver took a step forward on the screen, then another, heading straight for the back hallway. He's coming here, I whispered. Roy stumbled back from the console. This shouldn't be happening. We followed the rules. Suddenly the console sparked. The remaining screen went black, but not before displaying one final message. Final rule. If he comes inside, leave. Do not look back. The lights flickered, and then, bang, bang, bang. The metal door we came through shook violently. He was outside. We run, now, Roy barked. Without hesitation, we bolted for the staircase. The pounding continued, growing louder. The air felt heavier, pressing down with each step. As we reached the top, I glanced over my shoulder. I couldn't help it, and I saw him. The waiver stood at the bottom of the stairs. His face, no longer blurry, was mine. My exact face, smiling back at me. You broke the rule, he whispered. His voice sounded like mine too. Jason, no! Carlos screamed, pulling me through the upstairs door. The door slammed shut behind us. The pounding stopped. Silence. We were back in the main store. But everything was wrong. The shelves were empty. The lights flickered weakly. The air was cold. Too cold. The pumps outside were all gone. Just blackness beyond the glass. Roy stumbled forward, glancing around. No, this isn't right. Carlos stared at the front doors. Where's the parking lot? Where's the road? Then we heard it. Knock. 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 From the bathroom stalls. Tasha stepped out, smiling. Behind her, Derek emerged, both of them staring straight at us with blank eyes and wide grins. "You broke the rule," they said in unison. Carlos screamed and ran for the front doors. He yanked them open and stepped into blackness. Gone. Just like that. Roy backed into me. "Jason, don't look back. Don't look at them." But I couldn't move. Tasha and Derek kept walking forward, smiling, repeating the same phrase. "You broke the rule. You broke the rule. You broke the rule." Then I felt it. A hand on my shoulder. I knew who it was. I turned my head slowly. The waiver stood there, smiling my smile. "Welcome home," he whispered. The lights went out. I woke up to the sound of buzzing fluorescents, back at the front register. The store looked normal again. Customers bustled in, laughing and chatting. The pumps were all there, only 76 of them. Tasha, Derek, and Carlos were nowhere in sight. Roy walked past me like nothing had happened. And there, sitting on the counter, was a fresh sheet of paper. Night shift rules. Do not ignore. But there was a new rule at the bottom this time. Final rule. If you survive the first night, you work here forever. I looked up at the security feed. Pump number 77 blinked onto the screen. And the waiver was there, smiling, waving.